Today I'm going to show you another recipe from my new cookbook, Eat Your Heart Out. This is my cucumber melon gazpacho, and it is summertime in a bowl. It's the perfect cooling soup. You make it all in a blender, so it could not be easier. But it's the perfect cooling bite to have on a hot afternoon. It's great for a light lunch. It's really nice as a starter for supper. You can zhuzh it up and make it fun to serve in like little espresso cups for a little shooter as the start of a party. And because there's such an amazing balance of flavors in here, there's sweet from the melon, there's savory from the scallions and the cucumber. It's really hydrating. There's a bit of tanginess coming through. It like satisfies all these different cravings. And there's nuttiness from the almonds I blend into the mix, so there's something to chew on a little bit, which keeps you feeling lovely and light but full. It's the perfect thing if you're feeling a little peckish and you just don't know what to make and you just want something quick. This is going to be your answer. It is some delightful cucumber melon gazpacho, if I do say so myself. And the first thing we're going to do is actually start with the blanched almonds, because this is the one thing you might not already have in your pantry. I'm going to talk you through it. It's very simple. Buy raw almonds, and you're going to drop them into a pot of boiling water for 60 seconds. Take them out, cool them down in some cold water, and then you'll easily be able to just pop them out of their skins if you haven't bought them already blanched like these ones are. The reason we're doing blanched almonds is because the skins have a tendency, they don't blend up as well as the almonds themselves do, so they stick around in the soup. They can change the color a little bit. It's really more about aesthetics and like perfecting the recipe as opposed to any nutritional value or changing of really the flavor. So if you have raw almonds and you don't feel like going through that part of the process, I will not fault you. But I did want to tell you how to do it in case you're one of those people who wants to know, because I'm one of those people that wants to know. So in any case, I now have my 1 cup of blanched almonds. When it comes to blending almonds into a smooth, creamy liquid, you want to give them a chance to hydrate. Starting from dry, they can be a little more pasty and you'll hydrate those with liquid, but they're never as creamy as if you give them a chance to soak. The optimal way to soak is to cover these in cool water and let them sit overnight. The second optimal way is to cover these in hot water and let them sit on the counter an hour or two. But the fast cheater's way of doing this dish, which is what we're going to do today, is to drop these dried blanched almonds into a pot with a cup. This is a cup of almonds. I'm going to add 1.25 cups of water, bring it to a boil and take it off the heat and let it cool. And that will be our cheater's soaked almonds. I am going to measure because I'm going to use this liquid, so I want to have it pretty precise. And you know what? I'll go to like almost 1.5 cups into my pot and get that boiling. Let that come to a boil. Meanwhile, I will get the rest of my ingredients ready to go. So this mix has scallions in it, cucumbers. I also love to use a honeydew melon. I do like that little hit of sweetness, and I like that little bit of liquid that it brings to the soup. But if you don't have honeydew or you're not a fan of honeydew, you can obviously use watermelon. You could definitely use cantaloupe, or swap it in for a light colored pepper like these yellow bell peppers. It will make the mix a little bit more savory, but equally delicious. I'm gonna use melon today. We actually wanna get ultimately like 2 cups of melon, which I think half a melon should get for us. 2 cups of chopped melon. Work your way around, take off that outer peel. And this is definitely not like the world's most ripe and perfect melon, that's for sure, but it will still be good. Nothing too precious here, guys. We're literally gonna pop all of these into a blender. So just get them cut however you need to. Let's taste. Very sweet. Okay, let's get ourselves roughly 2 cups of melon. I have clearly no gauge of how much melon goes in 2 cups, so that's fine. We're gonna have a lovely little fruit salad for later. Trust me, no fruit ever goes to waste in my house. My children are literal fruit bats. They will eat it all. And I can start to assemble in the base of our blender so I can continue measuring out my English cucumbers. You know what? I'm gonna be fancy for you and peel these cucumbers just so we keep a lovely light green, pale consistency. But again, totally a feature of this recipe that you can skip. It can be as simple and effortless and carefree as you'd like it to be. This is a soup that we make all summer long, and I will tell you what, when I am racing between the pool and the beach and the kids being wild little crazy people with tons of free time, I frequently will not take the moment to peel my veg. So I like to start with, I'm gonna give myself 2 full cucumbers. And that's usually what I will take, but sometimes a little bit more depending on how juicy they are or how large they are. They can vary so much in size. Give these a similar rough chop, mainly just to speed along the blender process. And we are going to add in our scallions, which I love for that fresh oniony hit without overpowering any of the more mild vegetable and fruit flavors. These are sizable scallions. You can always dial it back a little bit if you'd like, if you prefer to keep it more mild. We can start with 4 and add. I'll give us like everything minus the woodiest stems at the top into our blender. Let's check on our almonds, see how they're doing. Boiling. Okay, so kill the heat, give it a little swirl, and let those cool down just enough so that we can add them into our soup without cooking the vegetables. While I have my cutting board out, I did go ahead and add the 5th scallion in there because I think we're gonna want it. I'm going to give these remaining 2 scallions a quick slice so that I have my garnish ready to go when the soup is ready. What I love about this soup is you can make it the day before, and it feels like it only gets creamier if you let it sit overnight chilling in your fridge. I love it to be like really, really chilled and cold. It's gorgeous with a fresh glass of wine. Because it's a little bit sweet, I can usually get my kids to enjoy a little bit of it too, minus the wine. And it is also great fresh. Like if you have people coming over and you want something really quick and simple to throw together, it's also a really nice recipe for that. I also have a jalapeno that my kids do not love, but I love a little heat in this mix, so I'm going to show you how I do it. If you are not a fan of spice, you can remove the seeds and ribs, this white bit here and the seeds from the jalapeno, and it will be significantly less spicy. I also do love to have a little fresh heat as the garnish. So for that, I will remove the seeds and just have it be a nice little mince of pepper. Always cut on the side of your produce that has the least slipperiness. So this sort of internal membrane has, it just doesn't slide as much. So I find it much easier to cut against, where if you're here, you're like slipping along on the sort of waxy side of the pepper. See? I would have had a perfect slice without you if I'd just gone to my membrane. And then I will just give them a mince across to give me these beautiful flecks of spice to scatter over the finished bowl. And again, feel free to leave this off if you or yours don't like it spicy. Remember to wash your hands before you do anything else. Just because I have a little more cucumber left, I will also slice that up and give us some nice garnish. And this is great if you have Persian cucumbers. I love those as a finishing cucumber element because they're so crisp and crunchy. But these work great too. I'm gonna add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 leaves of mint into this mix. Not more than that, guys, unless you really love the taste of mint. I find mint can get very overpowering in a soup. It's a beautiful, punchy, fresh flavor, and it's a spotlight hog. So don't go crazy. But it is nice because it just makes the whole soup that much more refreshing and lovely. Take a head of garlic and get yourself 1 nice chunky clove, or 2 medium-sized ones, because this is a raw soup, so you don't want the garlic to be too forward, or it can be a little bit off-putting and garlicky and acrid. I kind of like it just as like a scent underneath the rest of your soup notes. And I give my garlic a quick mince before I throw it in the blender here because I do want to make sure it completely blends throughout the mix. I don't want to accidentally end up with any big hunks of garlic floating through my soup. Let's get the juice of at least 2 lemons, depending on how juicy they are. I'm looking for roughly 1/3 of a cup to really juice up the situation and give us plenty of yummy tanginess. And obviously it starts to build some of our liquid base for this soup as well, but the hydration coming through in the melon and in the cucumber is going to be incredible. And we also have the liquid that the almonds are soaking in right now. And I'm just catching any seeds that fall right into my hand. Like this guy's going to have a lot. So with Eat Your Heart Out, the whole goal of this book was basically, I love to eat. I love to experience life through the adventure of food. And I feel like people who live for the perfect bite, like me, still need a reset every now and then. In fact, we might even need a reset more than anybody else, because you want to be able to really savor and indulge. And if it's not a conscious choice, it stops feeling as special, I find. If it's like an everyday, all the time thing, it just doesn't feel special. So I could not find a reset plan that made sense for someone like me. They all felt very punitive. They all felt kind of bland, to be honest with you. Or they felt like another job. Like there were so many rules and things to remember that I just would have to pay way too much attention. And I just have too much else that I need to think about. That is not how I want to choose to think about food. I want food to be pleasure and fuel, but not work. Eat Your Heart Out is all about doing just that. It's removing the obstacle to eating healthily so that it feels as fun and delicious and celebratory to treat your body right and to do something good for yourself as it does to indulge, because we want the balance of both, but we should always be enjoying our meals. I fundamentally stand behind the idea that taking good care of ourselves should always be delicious, and that is what Eat Your Heart Out is all about. Everything in the book is good and good for you, and therefore you should eat your heart out. That's the whole point. Okay, you are about to see me for pretty much the first time ever in these episodes measure my olive oil. I want 6 tablespoons of olive oil. And I'm going to tell you why. When I was writing the recipes for Eat Your Heart Out, I really wanted the recipes in this book to, first and foremost, they have to be delicious. Second of all, they have to be simple and approachable enough that they're practical. Like you're going to really come back and make these in your everyday life and not feel like it's another job. I wanted to strip it back and make it really simple. Like the rules of this book, again, no gluten, no refined sugar, limited dairy, take the weekends off. It is really simple. And I find by making the rules so simple and clear, you can actually breathe and relax and jump on board with the plan whenever you want. Stick with it for 5 days, take 2 days off, do it for a week, do it for a couple weeks, do it for a month, do it for however long it takes for you to feel like you've hit that reset button that you were craving. But you don't have to think about it. And I feel like that's really wonderful. But it's also about making sure that as the recipes are staying delicious, they're also doing just exactly what's needed and not more. And so not going overboard on the amount of fat I would use or things like that with the olive oil is one of the ways that I still get the sensation that I want, but don't go overboard. 6 tablespoons of olive oil and 1 to 2 tablespoons of, I usually use white wine vinegar, but I'm all out. So I'm going to use an apple cider vinegar, and my lemons were pretty juicy. So I'm going to go for like a tablespoon and a half to start. And then I can always add more. We need salt. I do believe that by now these almonds should have cooled just enough to be able to add them into our mix. And if you've ever made gazpacho before, it probably looked nothing like this. One of the things I love about gazpacho, traditionally a Spanish soup that is, even in Spain, served so many different ways. There's such a versatile array of how to prepare this beautiful blended chilled soup. But I think you're gonna love this one. Okay, let's blend it. I forgot the almonds. It's Space Cadet over here today. Okay, this, if it's cool enough for you to handle, it is cool enough to add to your soup. In a perfect world, it would be fully cool because this is a soup served chilled, but we're gonna add the liquid and the nuts. A quick blend. One thing of note is I added the almonds and their liquid and gave it a quick blend, and you'll see it's getting super frothy and creamy, which I love. It's insane how rich having those almonds be soaked makes this soup become. The longer you blend it, the warmer it will become. So you kind of want to like strike that perfect balance of letting it rip until it's really smooth and frothy and creamy, but not so long that the soup becomes hot, because the freshness here of the raw soup is part of what we love. I'm going to give it like 15 seconds more. Okay, perfect. Let that hang out there. Now, like I said, this is an amazing soup to make the day ahead. Just like so, put it in a covered container, pop it in your fridge, let it hang out overnight. Blend it really just like 15 seconds like I just did right before serving, and the flavors just meld beautifully. You're gonna love it. But we're gonna serve this right away because we're not waiting today. We are hungry and ready to eat. Let's give it a quick taste. This is your moment to tinker and tweak if it needs salt, if it needs acid. Look how creamy it looks. Come and see. It's beautiful. So rich and thick. Oh my goodness. And basically all vegetables and fruit with some almonds thrown in. It is freaking delicious. I would like another half of lemon, please. It's just the right amount of olive oil. And literally just that pop, like the tiny little pop that the garlic brings is so welcome. It's not overpowering. Remember, you have those scallions in there still. Gently, gently, gently sweet from the melon, not too much. I think I need like a pinch more salt. Blend it up. Okay, that looks great. All right. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Okay, final step of the garnish. We could do a few mint leaves, like chiffonade on top. Why not? We have them here. They're lovely and fresh. The garnish, if you were gonna make this the day ahead, I would always prep the garnish fresh. It just keeps everything looking nice and hydrated and lovely. I love adding some radishes on top too. And you can definitely do these just as thin rounds, or if you wanna take your time and cut little julienne matchsticks of radish. It's always a really pretty kind of like pop of red in this sea of frothy green. So just go ahead and get yourself some lovely finely chopped strips, like so. What I love about having enough garnish is this is a smooth and creamy soup, but having enough garnish on top gives you like little elements of bite that that are really, I think, very welcome and create just enough texture in the soup. In a perfect world, I want this to chill at least an hour because I do want it to be really, really cold. It's my favorite way to have it, but I'm not gonna make you wait an hour. So let's do this now. All right, let's watch this pour happen. Lovely. Now to garnish, let's start with the heaviest elements. We'll add a little pile of our cucumber. We'll add a little pile of our radish, give it a little height, a little color there. We're gonna add a little scattering of our jalapeno note coming through and a little bit of our scallion just around the edge. Take that fresh mint that we delicately sliced, and you really don't need it, but just because it looks pretty, we're gonna do it. We are going to just the tiniest little bit of additional olive oil. Give ourselves a few little droplets. Another part of Eat Your Heart Out is that I don't ever want you to remember that like you're eating healthily. I want you to eat things you love and they just happen to be healthy for you. I rest my case. That's a gorgeous bowl of soup. Let's taste this bad boy, shall we? Give it a little swirl to distribute all that lovely topping. Oh my goodness. First of all, I bet if I gave this to you and didn't tell you how to make it, you would never know there were almonds in here. There's no like, oh, it's nutty or chew. It's just like a little meaty. There's something really filling and substantial about it. And then you are graced with sweet, summery, juicy notes of melon, all those fresh cucumbers, the perfect punches of the scallion and the garlic, and a little bit of jalapeno. It's not spicy, but it does just like feel adult. I just want to go take a bowl of this and get my bathing suit on and sit by the pool and hang with the fam. Just the easiest, happiest, freshest soup you ever will make. And good for you too.